Welcome to the show. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host. Thank you for downloading today's episode. Today we're going to talk about forgiveness, and more specifically, freedom through forgiveness and what that means and how to get it. How to get it through your own work, how to get it through working with Lisa, how to get it through other ways of doing work, and why you want it. Because I think we have ideas about forgiveness that we're going to cover in today's show, but stop you from going through the process of forgiving both yourself and others. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But before I introduce Lisa Thomas to you, for those of you that are new to the show, I just want to make an announcement about what we do here on my shows. This information and content that I've been giving to you for 5 years now is powerful enough to stand on its own and to help you make change. And I know from the work I've done with many of you through one-on-one work and group work and coming to the events and just the emails that you send me, that lives can change just by applying the principles that we talk about on this show. But like you, sometimes it's really easy to read a book or to listen to a show while I'm driving or doing something and not actually take action on that. And so I just wanted to remind you that there are several ways that you can take action when what you're doing stops working or when you hit a plateau. Because that's what I'm about, is taking this information and continuing to build that positive momentum and then to address any of the blocks that come up for you. So there are a few things happening that can help you get unstuck. The first one is a week from today is the Building Health and Wealth webinar. You can find out more about that at jjflazanes.com/build wealth. And that's for those of you that either want to start a business or you have a business or you want to do business differently. You don't want to sacrifice your health in the pursuit of wealth. You want to be able to unblock your wealth and continue to be more abundant, but you don't want to do it at the expense of your relationships or becoming a workaholic or having anxiety and cancer because you've decided that wealth is more important than any of the rest of that. Also, for those of you that want to start following your intuition and really tap into the leverage that we have in this universe to assist us in decision making that most of us don't do because we get too caught up in our ego minds and into listening to other people who we perceive to be more successful. So again, if you're interested in building health and wealth, it's a one-time webinar I'm doing on November 12th at 5 p.m. Pacific time and 8 p.m. Eastern time. You get free gifts for just coming and being there live, and I look forward to having conversation with you and to going over this new paradigm, jjflazanes.com/build wealth. In today's show, we're going to talk about the forgiveness model and how Lisa uses the work that she does to help many people, even people she doesn't work with one-on-one, to forgive themselves. And of course, that is going to be her own offer of an audio series. But I want to remind you that Lisa and I do an event called Releasing What Weighs You Down, and the 2020, January 10th through the 12th, 2020 will be the last one right now. There are no more events on the books in 2020. The next event won't be till 2021. So if you've been listening to the podcast for a while and every time it's happened, you think, oh, I wish I could go, but I can't, I'm letting you know right now. I don't know that 2021 will happen for Releasing What Weighs You Down, but I will tell you that there is nothing happening until 2021. So this is it. And it's going to be on a beautiful 75-acre redwood tree location that those of you that listened to the how earthing can affect our bodies and reduce inflammation, we're going to work some of that in. So not only are we going to take this from an emotional and mental space, of course, we're going to take it from a physical space and using the earth's energies to help balance out and reduce inflammation on all levels. So I highly encourage, this would be the time now to book your flights and get your ticket, get your lodging. It's all included. Well, not the plane ticket, but the lodging and the food and the event is all in one ticket. And you can go to releasingwhatweighyoudown.com and click through there to go directly to purchasing your ticket. Now, you don't do it through me. You're going to do it through 1440, but the way that you're going to get there is releasingwhatweighyoudown.com. It'll be so much faster to get you to the exact place, and we really would love to see you there. So Beyond Cellular Healings was founded by international energy practitioner Lisa Thomas to help clients break through blocks and release negative patterns that can be carried through generations. Lisa helps her clients reach their potential and resolve issues such as anxiety, procrastination, and self-image. She helps business owners attract more clients and increase positive money flow while helping them find a clearer path to self-fulfillment and happiness. Lisa is a sought-out practitioner known by Hollywood celebrities and clients worldwide. Learn more about Lisa and how she can help you here on today's show. If you'd like a private session with Lisa, you can go to healwithlisa.com and get JJ's special one-on-one deal. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Welcome back to the show, Lisa.
Thank you, JJ. I love being here with you.
Well, we promised them a show on forgiveness, and it is some of the work that I've been doing myself and still need to do more of, but it's the work that so many people need, and it's time to focus on it. So thank you again for being here to help people understand the role that forgiveness plays in their manifestations, in their health, in their relationships.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So let's start with obviously, Lisa's been on the show many times. Lisa clears inherited emotional DNA. Lisa helps with all aspects of life with her special gifts and talents that help anyone literally in any situation help clear away some of those things that just don't serve you, that you're not even aware are there. That's like the most important part of what I need you to understand about what Lisa does. It's not the stuff that you can figure out on your own or that you can analyze. It's the stuff you don't know that she can help with. So forgiveness, Lisa, let's talk about your experience with working with people, with yourself, with others, and sort of how forgiveness plays a role in blocking us from the best life we can have.
Yeah. So oftentimes we believe that if we forgive, we're letting our perpetrator off the hook. And that isn't true. And, sometimes we believe that forgiveness is too hard, and the thought of it is overwhelming. But forgiveness is really just about letting it go, letting it be, because it's about you. It's not about the other person.
Okay, so let's talk about how it's about you and not about the other person. Let's talk about the energies that are entwined in these emotions, in these beliefs that have to do with the situation that is calling for some kind of forgiveness.
Well, when we hold on to the wronged experience from the past, thinking that it's going to prevent bad things from happening to us again, like the mentality of no one will ever do that to me again. Nobody's going to break my heart again. Nobody's going to take advantage of me. Nobody's going to cheat me again. Well, when we live in this vibration, it prevents us from moving forward and really living in joy. When we hold on to the past, we're really pushing other things away. Is the truth of it.
Okay, so when we're dealing with the work that Lisa does and looking at emotions and frequency and vibration and belief systems and passed down inherited beliefs and energies, we're looking at, if I had to make it simple for everybody, as you know, based on law of attraction stuff, it's based on sort of feelings. Yes. So let's talk about a feeling for a second. And one of the things that Lisa does in all of her work, whether it be on a series that she's created, like she has a forgiveness series called The Freedom Through Forgiveness, or the money series we talked about on the last show, the Money Accelerator series, or working with you in person, there's a process in which she tests what emotion is blocked or what's blocking what your energy wants to let out. And so when we're looking at forgiveness, Lisa, what are some of the major emotions that come up or have come up with you and your work when it comes around forgiveness?
Well, we talked about scarcity around money. Well, scarcity of love can show up in forgiveness. And it's a disempowering belief. The other thing is another common one is we put too many limitations on ourselves. That's actually a pattern. We limit ourselves. And I love clearing these limits to try and protect us.
What does the role of shame play in forgiveness?
Shame is really big, because shame is that there's a lot of things that go into shame. So if we were embarrassed in school by a teacher or by a peer, then shame probably lodged. And so I would want to clear the embarrassment. It's the fear of being embarrassed again, the fear of not looking smart. Humiliation, when we are humiliated, that falls under shame. And shame can cause us to live in regret because we didn't make a different decision. Shame is loaded. It can cause us to feel guilty for something that we didn't even do. Like if we were blamed for something that we didn't do, shame will trap because it's embarrassing, it's humiliating, and we feel misunderstood and not seen for who we are. Shame is a very low vibration, and it will cause us to believe that we're never worthy to be an expert. So no matter how much education you have or you don't have, you're never going to feel like you're worthy in your expertise to be that expert.
My first session with you years
Mm-hmm.
ago was, the only regret I have is that we didn't record it, right? It was before you were recording,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I didn't record because it was one of those miraculous moments where, without knowing I needed it, you
Mm-hmm.
validated so many things about me that no one else, not too many other people were buying into. And I honestly thought I was crazy. And I probably in that moment held a lot of shame about myself
Mm-hmm.
and misbelief about, well, no one else is really noticing this or saying this, so maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm crazy, maybe it's just my
Mm-hmm.
ego. What am I doing? And so when you first opened your mouth, it cracked me open and I cried because I recognized that, okay, it is true. The thoughts that I've had about myself are true.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to that, I know that I probably held a certain amount of responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
unnecessary responsibility on my own shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
that could come in the form of disrespect of self, lack of love for self, putting myself down in ways, not embracing this idea that nobody else was confirming, by the way. I mean, maybe one or two people had
Mm-hmm.
kind of indicated, but you didn't even know me. We had one conversation. It was not, we didn't know each other. So it wasn't like you were using years of past experience of my behavior. You just tapped into
Right.
it and just got this download. And it was very, very freeing. And in that moment, I can probably say that I forgave myself for not believing myself, like, because my intuition was saying these things. But yet my ego and conscious mind would battle myself in my mind and think that can't be true. That can't be true. That can't be true. Why would you think that of yourself? Who are you to think that? I
Mm-hmm.
want to go over the who are you to think that. How many times do you think people hold themselves back because they have an intuitive belief about the greatness that they can be, but somebody somewhere has convinced them that they're not? And so it's this
Mm-hmm.
idea of not allowing themselves to fully step into. And in essence, it's like you're beating yourself up. How many
Right.
times have you seen that?
All the time. And so there's a certain vibrations that cause us to hold on to unforgiveness. Because see, what happens is we trap it as our worth, our belief. So neglected is one of them. If you were neglected by a parent, if you weren't seen for who you are, that neglected energy needs to go. And the other one that comes up quite frequently is self-consciousness, because when somebody's been a perpetrator or a bully in our life, it causes us to be over aware of every action we make, and so that holds us up in life when we are too self-conscious of who we are, and we're afraid to take action because of what other people are going to think of us. Like those are some examples. And defensiveness, because we don't want it to happen again. So if we are too defensive, then we're not going to let in opportunities because our mind is wanting to protect us. So these are things, common ones that show up around family. And if we feel violated, well, we got to get rid of violated energy because that's a pattern of being disrespected. And we don't want to live in where we believe that the world never sees us for who we are, and that we're a victim to bad things happening. So those are some of the things that are really important to clear when it comes. It's not just about saying, okay, I forgive you, Dad, for not being nice to me. This is also about getting rid of vibrations that trap during the experience of being bullied or being violated.
So Lisa has a series called The Freedom Through Forgiveness, and I have it and I've done it and I love it. And I want to go over sort of the different layers, right? Because when someone
Mm-hmm.
says, let's say I've done forgiveness, there's a couple programs out there that work on forgiveness, and I'm not discounting that they could not be transformative. As we've talked about multiple times, especially on our last show when we talked about how to accelerate money,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about that even though you may have a certain belief, like let's say in your mind says, your conscious mind, the 12% of your conscious mind says, well, I think I'm over that.
Mm-hmm.
Yet we
Mm-hmm.
have the subconscious, which is showing you all the time through your blocks, that you aren't over that completely. And then we have that maybe you've done, one kind of clearing of some kind. And you think, okay, well, it should only take one. Well, shoulda, woulda, coulda kind of. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know how much of that is necessarily embedded in us because we don't know what we don't know. And so when we look at that whole idea of forgiveness, and yet we have to look at our results. We have to look at our life. We have to look at, what am I living right now? And what is it indicating? Is it gone? Have I really moved past that? Do I still get triggered or do I don't?
Right.
And with Lisa's program, so let's go over the different layers. So the first one, I know we start with forgiveness of family. Let's talk
Right.
about the importance of starting with forgiveness of family, even if you don't think there's something to forgive.
Right. Because oftentimes as we get older, we forget those little things that happened to us when we're younger. Most often, though, we do not forget when we were bullied by a family member or hurt by a family member, or when our parents or a mother-in-law, abused us verbally. So let me put it in a context here, okay? Let's say that in your family, it was like there was a lot of criticism and judgment. All right. Well, what can happen when that transpires is our energy gets shattered. So if an emotion of shattered is trapped, then because of mean comments and because you weren't raised where you could speak up for yourself, it's going to cause you to feel like it's a devastating energy. It's a ruined energy. It's almost like it takes your power away from you and you don't know how to stand up for yourself. These are things that happen because of what transpires in your life. So it's more than saying, oh, I forgive you for being mean to me. It's really releasing the vibrations that are keeping you in a certain state. So for example, right, when we forgive, it actually elevates our state of consciousness. It raises our vibrations. It puts us in a state of alpha. And we want our alpha to be balanced. And when our brain waves are balanced and they're synchronized across both sides of the brains, then it raises our vibration, and we are able to live in a completely new way in our life, because the vibrations of being broken and lacking confidence and having our heart hurt and the burden energy of being mistreated and criticized are all released. And so it's freeing on a different level than verbally saying, I forgive you. And one more thing, you are going to say, I forgive you in this series, but this goes way deeper than acknowledging it verbally.
Well, and I think people think you have to, like, in order to truly forgive or get the most out of releasing forgiveness, or, getting to the place where you are in forgiveness, that you actually have to talk to the person, and you don't.
You do not.
Right. Let's talk about that for a second, because I think some people think, well, they have these memories. I'm thinking of a certain family member who had lots of physical ailments because of the amount of anger, resentment, lack of love, and really hatred towards another family member. And even though that other person is no longer with us, the reactivation when thinking about that person stimulates this stuff. And so then you may say, well, it's too late now. I know there's a certain group of people in the world who believe, well, they're gone, even though they don't understand that no one's ever really gone. But they're gone. And how could I forgive? How could I have a conversation? Because they're no longer here. Let's speak to that.
Well, you do not literally have to have the person in front of you to speak it. And so in the series, you're going to get 15 or 20 seconds, and you are going to talk out loud, and you're going to tell them that they hurt you. And you're going to tell them, if you're angry, you're going to tell them you're angry, and you're going to tell them what it did for you. Now, also, I might add, you can hit pause on the audio if you want to go on longer, and then just hit go again and keep going in the audio. But this is an important time for you to share with the other individual the pain that they caused you. So I did this I was bullied in high school. And right now we're talking about parents. I've done this with my parents. Okay, let's just stay it with that. I have literally imagined my father or my mother or a sibling in front of me, and energetically I speak to them and I tell them that, this doesn't mean that I don't love you, but you really hurt me. And if you need to preface it like that, then preface it like that. If you don't love them, don't say that. Just say, you really hurt me, and I need to tell you that you hurt me.
I think it was me who said, I think once I got the series, I said to you, you don't give me enough time.
Yeah.
You're like, just pause it.
Just pause it. And that's why I wanted to put that in there for you so that you can just pause it, because 15 seconds isn't very long. But if somebody is really uncomfortable in the process, I don't want it to go on too long. So you have the option of just hitting pause and keep speaking what you need to say. And you also get to go back and do this as many times as you want.
So for some people, there are three layers. It's forgiveness of family, and that's where you start. And
Mhm.
even though I was thinking back to, and I've had my own share of pains and wounds from family, but when I started to do the series, more came up, and
Yeah.
stuff that I didn't remember, like you said, right
Mhm.
away,
Mhm.
came up, and I got to work on that. And I thought, wow. And I thought, well, I need to do this several more times because I would like to take one at a time. Like all these new memories are coming up for me, and so that family connection, that sort of deepest, the one that again
Mhm.
clearing inherited stuff comes from, is where you start. And so then when we moved from family,
Mhm.
we moved to others, so forgiveness of
Of
others.
others.
And that was also interesting because because there are people in our lives who, again, it's that self-preservation mechanism that we have this, like, oh, it's partly ego, where we say, oh, that person, I don't care that much, I don't really care what they think. And
Right.
but really, because we don't want to admit how hurt we really are, or how wounded, or how much it really affected part of our self-worth or part of our belief system, to be rejected by somebody or to be betrayed. And those are words that we deal with differently on the show in different ways. But let's just say, for the sake of honoring, again, the frequency you're holding on to and not trying to overanalyze it into nothing,
Mhm.
acknowledging like its ugliness, so to speak, in order to clear it. Let's talk about that second layer of forgiveness of others and the hold that it probably has on people that they don't realize.
Has a big hold on us. And a lot of times, there are things that have happened that we take for granted. Like we just think, okay, well, that's part of life, but gets trapped in our energy system. So, like I started to say, I had to forgive a friend in high school, and he was actually my first love. At 15, the first boy I ever kissed, and what happened after that is he turned into a 4-year bully in high school. He could not have been more mean to me than humanly possible. Made fun of me in class. He was a big joker, and it really scarred me. And I held on to that for a very long time. And I realized that it was really holding me back. And even if I didn't realize it, I knew that I needed to get rid of it. And so I went to great extents to verbally telling him, in this work that, hey, look, you hurt me. I don't care how famous you've become. I don't care who you've become. That high school girl was very wounded. And I shared that, even though he wasn't literally sitting here. I brought the energy of his essence in, and I told him that he hurt me, and I let go of it, and I cut those ties. And I'll tell you what, my life dramatically changed when I really let go of it. Now, did I call him up and say, hey, I want to be friends again? No, I didn't do that. Do I want to start over in that relationship and try and mend it? No, I don't. But I can tell you, I have truly moved on, and I truly better understand why he did what he did, even though he never told me that, and I've let it go.
Yeah, I think too many times there's those layers of like how what we're holding on to, how it affected us. And we need to acknowledge that and release it, clear it, and make peace with
Mhm.
it. And then the next level of healing is coming into the compassion for not only yourself, because we're acting on compassion when we want to forgive at that level, but also compassion for the other person and realizing, why did they do it, and
Right.
being able to see through that. And then we activate a little bit more love for everybody, but being
Mhm.
honest about how it impacted you and what
Mhm.
it did trigger in you, and being able to work with that. So in the forgiveness of others, I found that really brought me into a front and center, like face up into the mirror, about a few people in my life who, I kind of thought, well, I thought I
Mhm.
had cleared it. I thought I had let it go. And it came up. And so I was like, wow, all right, I'm gonna go deeper and forgive this person even more. And since that time, it's amazing, the detachment, the
It's
easy, loving
beautiful.
detachment of, it doesn't bother me. I'm no longer connected to it. And you mentioned something about the cord clearing. What we did
Mhm.
at Releasing What Weighs You Down this year,
Mhm. Mhm.
2019, that I look forward to also sharing with those of you that want to come to Releasing What Weighs You Down 2020. It's at 1440 Multiversity in Northern California on a 75-acre grounds with redwood trees. It's going
Oh
to be
my gosh.
amazing.
Amazing.
In fact, we may do this clearing outside. I may want us. I'm going to try to
Oh, that would
find,
be
if
beautiful.
weather permits, I'm going to try to find as many things as we can do outside,
Okay.
just to be in that energy of nature.
Mm-hmm.
And to really ground and reconnect and, have our nervous systems be completely balanced and feeling really turned on and activated in
Mm-hmm.
awareness.
Mm-hmm.
But you taught everyone, we went through how to emotionally cord cut with somebody.
Right.
And so part of the work we can do with the forgiveness of others and family is to, and again, this one unfortunately is live. So you got to come to the event or
Right.
come to the event in January, Releasing Weighs You Down, but we're going to be focusing on how, again, we've allowed so many people's energies to affect us
Mm-hmm.
and how we can, because we even did that when you cleared some of the stuff, like at the end of my relationship.
Yes.
We did a cord cutting. We did a bunch of
Good.
stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and that helped again transition me to my next phase and cleared the path to bring in what it is I wanted. And that's exactly why 2 years ago, 2018, I started Releasing What Weighs You Down, and I asked Lisa to assist me in providing the clearings at the event, live clearings, as well as education about all this stuff. Because I've been working with people one-on-one for 20 years, and there are so many different levels and layers of things that we can work on. And then there are certain blocks that prevent people from getting success. And I know, because of my work with Lisa, that there are certain things that are out of our understanding, out of our control. We are not connected to them. And so it's just like going to the doctor. I mean, if you were told you needed knee surgery, would you really try to do it yourself? You would be like, no, I'm going to go to somebody who studied this, someone who understands this. I'm not going to try to cut open my own knee and give myself anesthesia. Like so again, there are times in life where you delegate things because you know someone else has something else to offer that you don't have access to.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her to come on board, and we've been together ever since, doing Releasing What Weighs You Down. So I hope you all will check that out at jjflazanes.com/events and join us at the Redwoods. But so going back to this emotional cord cutting, that's another physical thing that can be done to, again, detach in that forgiveness of others, where sometimes we're even unaware of the power we've given away, right?
Exactly. And there's also an exercise I'd like to teach at this event of bringing that energy back to you. But there's something I want to say, that it's a false belief to think that moving on means that you've forgiven and forgotten. It does not mean that. Moving on is necessary, but that doesn't mean that the past has been taken care of and cleared. So part of this series is going to literally let you do that and continue to move on.
And the last part of the series of the Freedom Through Forgiveness is probably the most important one, I think, at least it is for me, is the forgiveness of self.
Absolutely. And forgiveness of self is not last on by accident. Forgiveness of self is the hardest, by far the hardest for us to do. And it's because we hold ourselves responsible for everything. We can forgive the bully. We can forgive a mean father or a neglectful mother. But forgiving yourself is acknowledging that you're not perfect. And that's really hard. And see, we have this belief that if we remind ourselves of what we don't do well, then we're going to do better at it. But it doesn't really work that way. That is a false belief also. So by forgiving yourself of what you haven't done right, by childhood mistakes, not as simple as just forgiving yourself for not following your intuition to call that friend who then died 2 days later. And if you called her 2 days later before, you would have had a chance to say goodbye. Those are the types of things that hold us back, and where we get stuck in not forgiving ourselves because we didn't do it perfectly.
I also find forgiveness of self needed for a lot of clients that I work with and people I see everywhere when it comes to body shame and self-worth and weight loss, right? It's that idea that there's this control issue of I have to be perfect in my eating and perfect in my exercise otherwise, and when I'm not, and I have to look perfect, and I have to lose these 5 or 10 or 20 or 50 pounds, because if I don't, no one will love me. And it's this idea that if I keep reminding myself of that, then I will be successful. Yet most people don't recognize how shaming that is and why exactly it keeps them from getting the results that they want when it comes to weight loss and body image and confidence.
And it blocks our ability to trust ourselves. When we're constantly beating ourselves up, it lowers our self-worth, and then it eliminates that ability to self-trust because we're constantly criticizing ourselves, shaming ourselves, reminding ourselves that we're not perfect. Exactly.
Forgiveness is a huge part of what we also probably will focus on at releasing what weighs you down. And definitely because, again, in my experience, when I put this event together for the first time in 2018, it was focused around, here are the people that I work with and what do they need? Well, we do need to talk about food and the relationship to how it affects our bodies, from inflammation to energy levels to production of hormones and neurotransmitters and having enough serotonin in our brain to feel good. So the nutrition part, of course, the exercise part, of course, the meditation part, of course, the tapping into your intuition. But then there's a huge part of that, what I recognized and why I asked Lisa to come on board to the event was to release, again, think of the title, releasing what weighs you down. And what weighs us down a lot of times are these energies that keep us stuck in these patterns. And one of them is that we take on too much responsibility, thinking that we're the ones that, like, we can fix it. And the way that we go about trying to fix it or to adjust it is by beating ourselves up. We're using the exact opposite tactic to get relief, and we just want to be free. And so I love that your series is called Freedom Through Forgiveness, because it really is about searching that freedom, the releasing of the burdens, the releasing of the responsibility, the releasing of the negative emotions that cause us to continually overeat, not exercise, not take care of ourselves, beat ourselves up.
Right.
We want the freedom, and we want to release.
So some of the things, JJ, that are released is like a pattern of holding ourselves back. All right, that comes when we don't forgive ourselves, we hold ourselves back, and we stay in unforgiveness because we're really afraid. So that's cleared. Perfectionism, I work on clearing perfectionism. I actually go into the ego mind in this, and release the ego's resistance and the false belief that controls the adult self. When we judge ourselves harshly, we're condemning ourselves. And so I remember that I clear a vibration of condemning and that pattern of condemning ourselves. See, all these things lower our vibration and they destroy our ability to live life to its purpose. I mean, really abundant life in love and abundant of time and abundant energy of bringing even in more money. When we forgive, it raises our vibration.
So one of the things that I wanted to be able to offer you guys today, because as you know, as you've listened to the show, you can work with Lisa one-on-one. The link is still live. It's healwithlisa.com. But and you will get a recording of that. But what is, that's going to be in a whole bunch of different areas. But one of the things that is great about the series that she offers is how often you can do them and how thorough they are about the different layers that they cover, especially this freedom through forgiveness. Because she's literally doing 3 hours, and you're doing, an hour on the forgiveness of family, an hour on the forgiveness of others, and an hour. That's 3 hours that you're getting. And not only is it 3 hours, it's super specific to this situation of forgiveness and all the things that get intertwined with it. So Lisa, tell us a little bit about, and I've already gone over with everyone what the program consists of. It's those 3 different audios, and I know that becomes detailed instructions, but let's talk about cost and price.
Well, it's a great cost. So it's normally $500. You cannot buy it on my website. It is not on there. I offer this course when I speak to, in different types of audiences, and I offer it at $500. For JJ's Tribe, I'm offering it for $197.
Thank you. We appreciate that, and we love you for that. Nobody gets better deals than JJ's Tribe, right?
Right.
Truly. That's not like BS. Like, really, nobody gets better deals than JJ's Tribe. And so if you want to get it, you can go to jjflizanes.com/forgiveness. Again, jjflizanes.com/forgiveness for Lisa's special offer on her Freedom Through Forgiveness series for $197, normally $500. And I would really encourage you, if you're feeling called to release what weighs you down on all levels, to also come to the event in January. We're not hosting it here in Los Angeles like we have for the other events. This is the first time that we're doing it on this property. 1440 is set up for events like ours. They provide all the food, so everything from gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, vegetarian. I've heard wonderful things about the food. The property looks amazing. I would invite you to come take a look at that. Like Lisa said, we're going to be doing some clearings. Also we're doing clearings every day, but we're going to be doing cord cutting. So you're going to learn how to cord cut, and on another level that can take this work even, and it, guys, it works. I mean, we did a clearing when my marriage was sort of at the worst part ever. And we did some cord cutting. We kind of did all the things that I knew and she knew I wanted, which was I wanted to keep trying. I wasn't ready to give up yet on my marriage. And so we were just clearing everything we possibly could that was negative between us, that was rotten and, outlived, and letting all that go. And then of course there was that little extra, and in case it doesn't work out, I'm clearing easy transition. And then boom, easy transition. Hello, Doug. 2 hours later after I surrendered. So guys, it works. And those of you that have experienced this know this. So I would invite you. Lisa, anything else you want to say about releasing what weighs you down 2020, or even just releasing what weighs you down in general?
It is amazing because energetically, when we are carrying burden energy, it weighs us down. And by uncluttering this stuff from our energy system, from our cells and our organs, allows us to show up in the world more powerful. And even in this unforgiveness series, there is a feeling of being powerless when we hold on to unforgiveness, especially if you're someone that has like this beautiful, heart of gold, and you believe that, you believe that it's a false belief that you hold yourself responsible for other people's actions. So when your kids don't do what they say, what you tell them to do, or where you give a friend advice and they didn't do it, and when you hold yourself responsible, it creates a powerless energy. And I don't want anyone to feel powerless in their life. So by doing these healing activations, not only does it give you an opportunity to forgive, but it releases the vibrations that have been trapped in your energy field that's holding you down, weighing you down, preventing you from moving forward.
Okay. So that's one of the best reasons to get Lisa's series, Freedom Through Forgiveness, jjflizanes.com/forgiveness, or better yet, get the series and come to the event. Come to the event where we're going to be doing it live. And you'll also get, group clearings every day. We'll be teaching how to clear inherited emotional DNA yourself to some degree, as well as clearing and getting rid of, cord cutting between people who may be an issue for your life. And of course, we're going to work on the food and the exercise and the meditation and the working on hormones. We're going to focus a little bit on menopause and andropause for those of you that struggle with that, and neurotransmitters and mood and all that good stuff. So we're really going to release what weighs you down on every level. And I hope you'll consider coming to the event. And if you can't come to the event, or you've been to one before and this one doesn't work in your schedule for whatever reason, of course, that won't stop you from forgiving and working on forgiveness, because I know a lot of you also beat yourself up unnecessarily, thinking that if I suffer long enough, somehow that'll make penance for others. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So jjflizanes.com/forgiveness to get Lisa's special offer on her Freedom Through Forgiveness. Anything else you want to add to this conversation today, Lisa, about forgiveness?
I just want to say that if you will practice forgiveness, it's going to elevate your state of mind. It's going to allow you to show up and function completely different in the world than how you've been doing it. It's going to release this burden energy that you are not even aware of how much it controls you. Like, I'm excited for you. I'm so excited for you to let these things go and step into the powerful person that you were put on this earth to be.
Me too. And I'm looking forward to assisting all of you do that in some way, shape, or form, whether it be through Lisa's work, my work, our work together, manifestation challenge. Let's do this. Let's really look at what is needed. And if this calls to you, please take action on it, because it's about time that we just let go of the things that keep stopping us from all the things that you say that you want. It's time to embrace taking action, moving forward, doing something different, really allowing yourself to clear those energies so that you can receive that which you've been asking for so long. Now is the time. So it's Lisa. Thank you again for being on the show. Of course, I'll see you soon, but hopefully we'll all see you in January. But thank you again for being on the show today.
I love every minute of it. I love your tribe. I love you. And I love sharing this journey with you, JJ. Thank you.